Welcome to the 121% podcast. Today we are welcoming one of my most favorite people in the world. It is the legendary, the talented Jodi Meyers. Jodi is an executive growth consultant with the Century 21 brand. I've known Jodi for many years, even prior to being a broker with Century 21. And then it just so happened that once we became a franchise, she was our go-to gal, and gal extraordinaire she is. So, Jodi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kevin. It's good to be here.
Hopefully you'll come back for many more. We won't scare you off today.
Are you trying to scare me off?
No, not at all. So, Jodi, you have a one thing I respect about you the most is your background. You have a very, interesting story. A lot of people, in my experience in the franchise world, they've never walked a mile in the shoes of the people that they're in charge of working with and helping grow their business. And in your case, you've walked more than just a mile in the shoes of an agent, in the shoes of an office leader. So tell us a little bit about your background and your journey to where you are today.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Kevin. I absolutely thrilled to be here. I have been in your shoes. I've been in new agents' shoes. I've been in a lot of shoes, and it's not, it was not a smooth ride. First of all, I'm going to go back to 2003, and I tell this story, and there's a reason I tell this story is because so many people have told me over the years that, wow, I totally relate to you. I know that I can make it in this business because I'm where you are, or I've been where you are. And, it's so years and years ago, back in, I think it was 2001, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 small kids. We were living in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful home on a corner lot, 2 brand new cars, picket fence. I mean, we're talking ideal life. And then 9/11 happened. And everybody knows what happened to the airline industry after that. Well, the airline industry basically just collapsed. My husband lost his job, and I wasn't working, so what was I going to do? So we took a huge risk, a big risk. We did not have a lot of money saved up in the bank because we had 3 kids. We were young. We sold our house. That's a whole nother story. But we sold our house, and at the closing table, we had to pay, it was like $900. That was the last $900 we had to our names. And we decided we were going to up and move to Florida. Why Florida? We have no idea, but it was a happy place. Disney was close by, and we were just going to uproot our 3 kids and move to Orlando.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yes. Well, me too, because I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Exactly.
So, I get to Florida, and, my husband had a small severance, but it was not enough to feed 3 kids and myself and pay rent and car payments and that sort of thing. And I looked at my husband. He looked at me, and we're like, well, what am I going to do? What is he going to do? Well, why not get into real estate? Because the agent that just sold our house in Atlanta, did you see her paycheck? I was telling to my husband, I'm like, did you see her commission check? And what did she do for that? I said, she didn't do anything. I said, she put a sign in the yard and that was it. Because real estate's easy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyone can sell real estate.
Yes. So so that was what I told myself. I'm going to get my real estate license because it's easy money. So
liar.
Exactly. I will tell you, when I say I had no money, I had to borrow the money from my dad to get my real estate license. And that in itself was extraordinarily painful because my dad does not lend money to anyone. So I borrowed $2,500 for him, went to real estate school, and went through school, joined the board. All of a sudden, I'm here, this new agent, with this real estate license. I'm just gonna get out there and make it and make tons of money.
It's like HGTV. You show 3 houses and you get a closing, right?
Oh my gosh, that's exactly. I thought, man, I'm gonna be, it's not 6 figures. I'm gonna be 7 figures because this is so easy. So anyway, nobody tells you in real estate school that the first thing when you get your real estate license is finding a brokerage.
Well, most schools may not. I know of one school in Orlando called OneBlue that does.
Oh, I've heard about that
Yeah.
school. In fact, I saw that when I came
Yeah.
in. How ironic is that?
Exactly.
I did interview every brokerage in Central Florida. You weren't around at the time because I probably would have gone to you.
I was still in hotels.
Oh, exactly. I interviewed so many companies and so many brokerages, some of the bigger names. I decided I was going to go with an independent. This is no joke. They sat me down at a round table like this and said, you need to, create a sphere of influence, and that's what you're going to do. Literally, I felt like I had no direction, none. Like I was just out on this island by myself. No support, no nothing. So about 24 hours later, I was like, okay, this isn't going to work I need to know what to do. I had no idea. It's amazing to me how so many real estate companies don't guide the new agents. I mean, it was shocking to me. So I stumbled upon a Century 21 office in Celebration where I lived. And I will tell you, and this is where I'm going with this story, that was the best decision I ever made.
I agree. It's one of at that point in your life, yes.
It was the best decision I ever made. So here's why I'm telling this story is because, remember, I want you to keep in mind, I had no money, 3 kids to feed, rent was coming due, and I had to make money. So I remember my broker saying, well, there's this course, Create 21, which is like Accelerate now. And I remember we got 3 weeks through the course, and by this time, I remember my son Corey, and if he was here right now, he would be laughing because every time I tell this story, it brings back memories. And we got to 3 weeks into the course, and it was about for sale by owners, expireds, and I remember the instructor saying, okay, here's your homework. You need to call expireds and for sale by owners. Well, in the meantime, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I can't do this is what I told myself. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, my son's like, Mom, when is dinner? And I said, Corey, there's a jar of pickles in the refrigerator. I said, we're waiting on money from in-laws so we can eat dinner. So he goes into the kitchen, and the only thing we had in the refrigerator was a jar of pickles. He pulls out the jar of pickles, and guess what happens?
He drops it.
They broke all over the floor. And for anybody that knows my son, he truly has diagnosed OCD, not just someone that says he has it. He would not touch them. I knew at that moment that, okay, I'm with Century 21. I've got my real estate license. The instructor told me to go call expireds and for sale by owners, and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I go out into the garage. I remember sitting there, and I went through the expired list. This was Sunday morning after the pickle incident, and I picked up the phone, and I called this expired listing. The guy answered. I had no idea what to do. I just know the script told me what to say. So I said, hi, Mr. Seller. I'm Jodi Meyers with Century 21 Premium Properties. I noticed your home is no longer on the market. And he paused, and he said, oh, no, our agent has it listed. I said, no, sir. As of 12:01 a.m. last night, your home is no longer on the market. So he put me on the phone with his wife, and his wife said, honey, I'm in the bathtub right now. I will call you back shortly, but our agent's having an open house today, and it is listed, I promise. I said, well, no, ma'am, it's not. So anyway, she said, well, honey, I appreciate you calling, but I'll call you back. Well, I was like, okay, well, that didn't go so well. Guess what happened?
They called you back.
She called me back. She said, okay, I'm out of the bathtub now. I called my agent, and you're right. It expired. She forgot to renew the listing. And I was like,
which is a term agents these days are not familiar with having to do, right?
Exactly. So anyway, she said, okay, I've got to get my thoughts together. I've got to get things together. I'll call you back. Well, the next morning, my phone rings at like 8:30. I'm jumping to the phone, and I run, and I'm like, hello, this is Jodi. And she said, hi, Jodi. this is the seller from Magnolia in Claremont. She goes, I want you to come list my home. You do? I remember. I was like, okay.
Now what do I do?
Now what do I do? Kevin, I'm going to tell you, if I was a new agent, every fear in the world, under the sun, I had no confidence, didn't know what I was doing, no direction, because I was brand new. I had just started. I called my mother-in-law, who had moved down with us and lived about 3 doors down. I said, do you have something nice to wear? She's like, yeah, why? I said, put it on, because you're going to be my assistant today and we're going for a listing. She said, what do you mean you're assistant? I said, I don't know, but it sounds good. So anyway, I had no idea how to fill out a listing agreement, no clue, but I told my broker she couldn't go because she had already had a previous appointment. So she sent me one as an example. So here we are driving up to Magnolia Point in Claremont. I failed to look at the sales price on the listing when it expired. It was a $700,000 listing. And in 2003, that's like a $1.4 million listing now. I mean, it was crazy. So, and I'm going to get to the point here, but this is why I tell this story. I pull up in a 4-door 1997 Honda Accord with hubcaps. Okay? Hubcaps. They have 2 brand new Escalades sitting in the driveway, a $700,000 house on the water. Little old me, who's never worked a day in my life, I didn't have that kind of money. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I put on my mask and I said, I am going to do this. I walked in, had no idea what I was doing, introduced my mother-in-law as my assistant, and that she had been working with me for years. 3 hours.
Well, working with you on other things. Just you didn't say it real estate. You just said
no. I just said
working.
Yes, yes. So I walked out of there with that listing in hand. I want you to listen to this carefully, because this was life-changing for me. $700,000 listing. It had been listed with another agent who had been in the business for 25 years, and she had had the listing for over a year. I listed it at the same price, and it sold in 3 weeks. What do you think the difference was?
You.
Why me?
You got the passion and the drive.
Why
the
did
other person, you were hungry.
There you go. You just said it. I had 3 kids to feed. I had no choice. They had to eat, and I had to sell the home. The homeowners were blown away that I'd sold it in 3 weeks. And I will tell you, the biggest lesson I learned from that, and you know, people call it a rags to riches story, is everything that you do in this business comes down to one thing. What do you think that is?
Your ability to want to get up and do the work.
Absolutely. It is your mindset. 121% your mindset. If I would have told myself that I can't do this, which I did, but I had to wipe that out because I had hungry kids, I would not be where I am today if I would not have totally changed my mindset and picked up that phone and just did it. Mm-hmm. But here's what I find. A lot of people want to make sure when they get into this business, they're so worried about not knowing what to do that they're afraid to do anything. And that is the wrong mindset.
I tell agents, get out there and do it. Create problems for me to solve.
Exactly.
You don't know how to fill a listing agreement? Go get me a listing. We'll help you fill out the listing agreement.
Exactly. And that was the whole, you cannot be worried about not doing something if you don't have a customer. Have the customer in hand and then worry about what to do.
Well, also, if you wait to learn everything you need to learn, you're never going to start something because you never stop learning this business.
Exactly.
You know, both of us have been doing this for several years, and we're still learning every single day. Mm-hmm. There's not a day that goes by that something doesn't come across my desk that I have not dealt with before, or a situation I need to deal with that, you know, I have to learn about. Right. So, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing that I see when agents fail, especially during that first year, is they get stuck in that analysis paralysis syndrome. And it's, you know, north of 80%.
I was just going to say, how many agents get into the business and don't make it?
It's over 80%
It
in
is.
the first year.
It's about 83%. Now, listen to this. How many don't make it, or I should rephrase it this way, is how many of the new agents will be still selling in 5 years?
Very few.
Very, very few. And why do you think that is?
They don't have the staying power. It's, they are not getting out there. They're not seeing the production because their mindset is, woe is me. It's the victim mentality instead of just getting out there and doing it.
Exactly. So, after I sold real estate for about 5 years. I was Rookie of the Year my first year, which that still blows my mind to even say that to this day, because I did not come from a real estate background. My dad was not a broker. My mom was not a broker. Nobody was feeding me leads. Nobody in my family was in real estate. And I'm telling you, if I can do this with nothing.
And that's the big thing, is no sphere, right?
I had no sphere of influence
here
at
in
all.
Central Florida, right? Central Florida is a huge destination where a lot of people move to from somewhere. I mean, the running joke is if you actually meet a true Floridian, get their autograph, right?
Exactly.
That's the unicorn around here. So you have to build it. I didn't have a sphere here either. I mean, how many homes did you sell your first year, do you think?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. I didn't even keep up with it. It was crazy. And it wasn't because everybody says, oh, well, it was a different market then. If I hear that one more time, it makes my head want to explode.
Every year is a different market. It's a constant evolving.
It is. And did you know, this is a cool fact. So, everybody says, oh no, I don't want what happened again in the Great Recession to, happen next year or the year after. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be out of business. So do you know that there were only 1.5 million fewer homes sold during that time than, I think, 2019?
Homes are always being sold.
Homes are always being sold. But guess what?
Why?
The agents, they're not going out and getting the business.
Right.
They blame the market. There's always being homes sold. And that is what is so frustrating. You know who the biggest roadblock is in an agent's business?
The agent.
Themselves. Us. Ourselves.
You said it the other day, success comes when the power of your why exceeds the quantity of your excuses.
And that is absolutely true. So I hear everywhere I go, and it's probably one of my pet peeves is, oh, you've got to have a why. You've got to have a why. That's not true. You do have to have a why, but there's more to that. Your why has to completely outweigh your excuses. So, in
your case, here's a prime example. Yes, you had excuses. I can't do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But your why of I have kids to feed. And if I don't get out there and do this, I'm not going to be able to feed my kids. Same thing with me. I quit my job without another job, and I was putting stuff on my credit. If I don't sell, I don't pay my bills.
Exactly.
It wasn't an option to
you
sell.
You didn't have a plan B.
No.
Plan A had to work or you were done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fear is a huge motivator sometimes.
Well, it is. It's funny you say fear. Fear is really just, forget everything and run. Just forget everything and just run and go get it. And that's truly what you have to do. But, another thing too in coaching agents, after I didn't even tell y'all this. The funny thing is we were so poor that we applied for food stamps and our kids' beds came from dumpsters. I'm telling you, anyone with the right attitude and the drive to work hard.
Real estate business is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your religion is.
Amen.
What your citizenship is.
Yep.
None of that matters.
It does not matter.
What your bank account is. The only thing that matters is your willingness to get off your ass and do the work.
It is. And when we as entrepreneurs, and that's the thing is a lot of agents, they come into this business with a 9-to-5 mentality, and they're used to having, this firsthand, is you were in the hotel industry and you had to go, you knew what was expected of you, you knew what you had to do. And in this business, people come in and they expect people to hold them accountable and tell them what to do. And no, that doesn't happen. You literally have to have an entrepreneur mindset, and you're going to have to make you're going to have to hold yourself accountable, or or your agents can say, Kevin, hold me accountable. But people are funny about it.
But even as a broker, you can have an accountability program like we do with 21 Jumpstart. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to do the work, they're not going to do the work.
Right.
And that's the big challenge. You're coming from hospitality. There are positions in the hotel industry where it is those hourly, but once you get to management, that 9 to 5 is gone, right? You have to be there when you have to be there. If that's an 80-hour week or a 90-hour week or a 40-hour week. I've never had one of those, but
I haven't either.
So, coming into this, it was nothing new to me.
Right.
And that one thing for me that helped me is I did not work from home. And yeah, you can work from your house, but our brokerage had offices we could rent, and there was 2 desks per office, and I rented one that had 2 desks available. I rented both desks.
Oh, nice.
So that way I could close the door and focus without distractions. And I knew I was there every day. I literally generally opened the door. The first one in the building was the last one out the building, unless I had a showing. I was beating the broker there. And he even told me, you work too much. I said, no, I don't. He's like, yes, you do. I said, no, my bank account tells me when I need to work and when I don't need to work. My savings account for my future, that tells me when I need to work and not work.
Exactly.
Not the clock.
And looking back, and I was training a lot of agents. So after I sold real estate, I managed an office, ran the office, and, I can relate to broker owners, managers out there too, is, I've come up with several personalities of top agents, and I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget, because I truly feel that it comes down to, I don't want to say personalities, but mindset. I will tell you the two top traits that I see that top agents that are, I don't want to say successful, but hit their goals, is you have to have an open mind. You absolutely have to have an open mind, and you have to be positive. And the reason I say that is, this job easy? I shouldn't say job, but is a real estate career easy?
It's simple. It's not easy.
Exactly. It really is simple, but have you ever seen a 1,000-piece puzzle?
Yeah.
Have you ever put one together?
No.
Okay.
I started one, but I did not have the patience for
Well,
it.
there you go. And that's the thing. We are juggling buyers with personalities that, I've got a story that it would blow your mind. Buyers, sellers, title companies, the other agent on the other side, lenders, repairs. The personalities are crazy. So you're literally trying to put all these pieces together and get it to closing. And, if you get an email that states, oh no, this has come up, you have to be able to have that positive mindset, because you can do 2 things. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Now this is never going to close. Or you can say what?
Just get through it.
Get through it, find a resolution, and get it done. And I
love it. Bring me a problem to solve. I can solve.
Exactly.
We're part marriage counselor, part problem solver.
Yes, but that's where I see a lot of agents get stuck is they see these roadblocks, they see these problems as roadblocks, and then they stop. Every roadblock, trust me, any roadblock that you have, there's a way around it.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to find it. And I would have never, ever gotten to where I am today if I had had a negative mindset. I will tell you this. I had a lot of people tell me, you'll never make it in this business. You don't have a sphere of influence. You don't have the money. And people are going to tell you that. I had to get rid of all that negativity.
That's the jealous people.
It is.
They don't want to see you successful.
And I will tell you, I've had to cut several people out of my life over the years, and I now surround myself with positive people. I want to. I surround myself with people that are smarter than I am, because
I do too. That's why you're here.
Oh, I was going to say the same about you. Something that I thank you for letting me have my notes, but there's just some things I don't want to forget. But I ran into an agent one time, and we were talking about her success, and success does not come and I'm going to be some people may agree with this, may not agree with this, but, success does not come from sleeping till 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning and then being done at 2 or 3 in the morning, at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I'm going to tell you that in all the top producers or all the agents that have met their goals over the year, I'm going to tell you they are up early. Mm-hmm. They focus on A tasks, what are A tasks?
Things that have to be done today.
Things that are money-making activities. And I think that's the biggest thing, is learning how to prioritize your activities. What are we most comfortable doing?
Things we like.
Things we like. What do we not like to do in real estate?
Well, it depends on the person, but the average answer would be is get out of our comfort zone and go meet people and talk to people.
Exactly. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be sitting here today
if you not picked up the phone.
If I did not pick up the phone and get out of my comfort zone.
Yep.
It would not have happened. It would not have happened.
The formula to be successful in real estate, and here it is. We'll break. You can cancel all the coaching, all the training out there. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Go out there and meet people that you don't know today. Have conversations with them. Mm-hmm. Those conversations will lead to appointments, which will lead to contracts, which will lead to closings, which leads to success.
Perfectly
So it starts with having a conversation.
It does.
Everything else is bullshit. Mm-hmm. Go out there and have a conversation. Get with people. We coach, there's 24, 25 agents right now in our program, and I meet with them every Monday or Tuesday. It's like, how many conversations you had this week? And I can tell you,
starts with a conversation.
And the ones that are closing the most deals have the most conversations. It's not rocket science.
It's not.
This is, there's no secret sauce, and that's what everybody wants. What's the silver bullet? They hear about an agent that's been successful, and then the question is, what did they do? What was their secret sauce? The secret sauce, I promise you, I could have never talked to that top producer. The secret sauce is they talk to people.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. So another thing, too, is I didn't have money to wrap my car like a lot of agents have. They put their, names on their cars.
I'm scared to do that. If I accidentally cut someone off, to leave a bad review online or something.
Well, my mother-in-law was pulled over, and everybody was like, Jodi, you got pulled over. No, I wasn't driving. That was my mother-in-law. But I will tell you, the biggest thing for me was I went to Home Depot or Office Depot, and I put letters on the back of my car, sellers and buyers, call Jodi Meyers. And
I like that. It rhymes.
Yes. Yeah. And I did that myself, spent 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was doing that. I wore my name tag everywhere. And I'm going to tell you this.
Have you ever seen me without a polo shirt that has a company name on it?
No. And I'm going to tell you, this is a true story. This is an absolute true story. So, and I don't know if I should say the name of the brand, but I did leave Century 21 for about 6 months. Yeah. Well, what happens when you've been in the business for a year and a half, and you're doing really well? What happens?
Oh, I want more of the money.
And other brokerages call and recruit you.
Oh, yeah.
And you think you're all that, which they're really calling everybody, but
hey, oh yeah, you're all that in a bucket of chicken.
Exactly, yeah. And so I did go to another real estate company, and I remember I was going through the grocery store, and I had my name tag on, and it was the brand of a company, and the lady stopped me, and she thought the brand of the company was my name. Long story, I ended up going back to Century 21 because every single time to this day, especially in Florida, everyone knows who Century 21 is, and I will tell you from all over the world, they always ask about real estate.
And there's a reason why we're the most respected and the most recognized name in real estate for over 2 mm-hmm. decades. Yeah, I my quick story. I was a Century 21 agent. I got to the point where I'm like, I'm going to 100%. So I went to this other office, and it was independent. We took our website. Actually, I was sharing the story yesterday with somebody. And we literally, all we did was we changed the logo. We changed wherever it said Century 21 in that DBA, we changed it to the other company's name. Otherwise, it was the same. Our leads dropped in half. Our leads conversion cost to convert doubled. Nothing else changed other than the consumer perception. Before they would land there, they saw Century 21, and then now they're seeing an independent. And I will say that will hold true even if you're going to like a Remax or a call, it's that global name that's been
is.
around forever.
It
Century
is.
21's the best, I think.
It is.
I think you would agree.
It is.
That's our
Well, we actually, Realogy, who is the parent company of Century 21, Coldwell Banker, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, and the Corcoran Group. So this
Sotheby's.
and Sotheby's, thank you. This is a fun fact, but I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe we are ahead, I want to say 9% ahead in market share and than any other brand as of, and this has been probably the last 6 months.
Yeah.
We have more market share, and we're pacing faster than the market and our sales, and that just tells you the power of a brand.
I agree.
Yeah.
But to go back to that story real quick, after a month and a half, I called my broker back. I'm like, "Can I come back?"
I did too.
And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, will my production count towards my Centurion Award?" And he goes, "Yes, we'll make sure that happens." And they called. Actually, I think it may have been you. I'm sorry, who adds.
It might have been me.
Yeah, and whoever it was got it done, and we
That's
went back, and again reverse the cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Century 21 logo, replace the text, change the colors, just that, nothing else. The lead volume doubled, the cost went down by half. I mean, that just shows you the power of the name.
It truly is. And I remember, and back when I was, applying for food stamps, getting bunk beds out of the trash for my kids, and I did wear my name tag everywhere because Create 21, which is now Accelerate, they told me to. And the way I found my first buyer is an incredible story. And I walked into Chick-fil-A with my name tag on, and this couple by the name of Fred and Maria were sitting in the booth behind me. And I had my name tag on, just shorts and a T-shirt, but I had that Century 21 name tag. They were here from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I sat down to eat, and they said, "Oh, I see you're in real estate." Well, nobody had told me what to say if somebody asked me about that. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm with Century 21. And they said, "Well, how's the market?" And I was like, "What have you heard about the market?" I had no idea. I was so new in the business. I had not studied the market. Didn't get familiar with the market. I remember calling my mother-in-law again, and I'm like, "Put on that suit because we're showing houses." This was before, you could find
like your Lucky Charm.
Yes,
like your blankie.
and
Let's go.
Exactly. So I had no idea what I was doing. But if I would have let me not knowing what I was doing, I sold them a house the next day, just for meeting them at Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah.
And
I won at Starbucks.
There you go. But I'm telling you, if I would have let my mindset, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you naturally, as long as you build a relationship with someone, I mean, you'll learn as you go. And obviously you're there for your agents and you help them. You're always there to answer questions. And, everyone here is. And I sold 2 houses to a couple from Peru by my name tag.
I did my very first office was a Century 21, and it blew my mind. Before I could do anything, the requirement was I had to go sit in a contract class to fill out the contract. And I guess I was, me, I have no filter on my face. So
you have no filter, period.
Okay. So I'm visibly annoyed. And so the person, she was the office manager. She was, "Is something wrong, Kevin?" I said, "I just think this is stupid." I said, "Why are you teaching me step 99 when I don't know step 1? By the time I learn 1 through 98, I'm going to forget what you told me today. So how about this? We'll just call this done. I'm going to go out and try to figure out how to get a customer and sell a freaking house. And then when I need a contract, you just help me then."
And that's exactly what I did when I was running an office, what you just said. Exactly. Another thing, too, that I really want to point out is, garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage in your head, and I hear this a lot, nobody out there can buy. My offer's not going to get accepted because there's 10 other offers. And I had written down some of the other things I've heard agents, say is it's impossible for people to buy. No one is buying and selling. Or Agent Susie's getting all the business. I don't like it here. This brokerage isn't fair. You don't hear that.
No, never.
And I'll tell you,
the ones that say that and do leave, though, they, without exception, have never improved their numbers elsewhere.
Yeah, and usually I do see that when an agent leaves a Century 21 office and goes to another company, and they follow their production, it usually does.
Well, there's 2 exceptions in our entire history.
That's pretty incredible. But I'm telling you, wake up every morning. You have a choice when you get up every morning. You truly, truly do. And what you tell yourself, wake up, positive affirmations. There are buyers out there. My offer will get accepted. What you put in your mind is exactly what is going to happen.
Have you ever heard of the Pike's Place fish market?
No.
All right, so everyone Google this, the Pike's Place Fish Market in Seattle, Washington. They have the fish philosophy. And so there's a video, you can probably see it on YouTube. The fish market is in pods, and so the customers can walk all around. But the packing, if you buy a fish, it has to get to the place where they package it and check you out. The problem is there's no pathway. So there's only one way then to get the fish from where the fish is to the packing. And of course, the logical answer is to throw it through the air. So, yep, you'll hear, all of a sudden, fish flying and flying this, whatever, mackerel, whatever, flying through the freaking air.
That is
so
hilarious.
Everybody, you get people in the area that just love to come and just watch the workers work. You have all these people from, different, corporate offices around that place. They come down, they get their coffee from one of the original Starbucks, and they go there and they just watch this. And then so they, the workers have been there for years. I mean, clearly it's not them. I mean, it stinks. They're dealing with raw seafood. They're throwing it everywhere.
I can just smell that now.
Yeah, right? And so they have the fish philosophy. There's 4 core principles, but the number one is choose your attitude. Every day you get to wake up and you have one choice that will set the rest of your day, and that is to choose your attitude. You can choose to be negative. You can choose to be positive. You can choose to be a jerk, or you can choose to be not a jerk, right? And it goes back to what you say, is every day we have that choice. And no one can take that choice away.
Exactly. And I will tell you, it's all about, like you talked about earlier, this business is all about meeting people. And if there's any new agents, which I know there are, but I will say this, the new agents that are coming into the business that don't have a sphere of influence, if you're sitting at home every day, don't expect the business to come to you. Because
go work at Starbucks. Go work somewhere.
Not. Go out somewhere. This is what I used to do, because I remember I had no sphere of influence, and we didn't have social media. We had no social media, so I couldn't even friend people.
That long ago, huh?
It was that long ago, and it was in the old days.
Did they have computers?
I think we were just getting computers. We didn't even have phones that you could
touch.
People actually had to call each other.
You had buttons?
I think we did, but you couldn't even text and all that. It was crazy.
Oh my God. And you still survived.
And I did. I did. And people say, oh, well, it was easier back then. No, it wasn't, because there was no social media. And so I literally would get in the car every day, and I was a moving billboard. I would stop in front of for sale signs in neighborhoods that weren't even mine, and I would literally get out with a pad and a piece of paper, and I would act like that I was doing something for the house, and people would stop and ask me about the house that we're driving through.
I love that.
Yeah. You know what else I would do? I would literally, all the time, I would drive through new home communities with my
billboard,
my moving billboard, and I would sit, and I would, every, few days I'd go back and sit in a different spot, and I would just, wait for people to ask me questions about new construction in the area. I was so creative. I would literally go to Universal Studios or Disney, and guess what I would be wearing?
Name tag or a polo shirt. I wear a T-shirt and go get. I love to talk. Again, talking with someone just literally yesterday about this. I used to go to the park. I've gotten sales from people in line at the parks, or go and live stream on your page like a ride, and then people will comment all the time.
But guess what? Here's the thing. People want easy. They want to make 6 figures, and they want it to be easy. I'm going to tell you right now, if you expect to come in and make 6 figures and it to be easy, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
because you actually have to. And that's the thing is, I use the analogy. If you are working for a company, and this week you decide, you know what, I don't want to go to work. I'm going to stay in my bed, and I'm going to eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream and watch Jerry Springer all day. Guess what? You're going to get fired. In real estate, you're just not going to make money.
Yeah. You got to wake up every day with the attitude that you're unemployed
Yep.
And you don't have
I did
your
a great
notes.
video of that on our YouTube channel.
Yes, but
Yep.
you do. You have to. I mean, I could literally talk about this for hours and hours. I think the biggest thing is you just have to get out there and talk to people. And the one thing I see a lot of agents do is they don't tell people what they do.
Yep.
They're afraid.
They're a secret agent, not a real estate agent.
They're afraid. And I'm going to tell you, no one is going to know what you do. And I have found this. People are very afraid to promote themselves. People feel uncomfortable promoting themselves. They feel they feel like it's, oh, well, that's so, cocky. And let me tell you, no one else is going to be out there promoting you but yourself.
There's a book, and I'm blanking on the full title, but it's Pushy by Joe Magnum. Pushy's in the title. Do you remember the full title? I will put it in the link. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'll put it in the description below. I'll link to it on Amazon. It's a great book, and it talks about, part of this is there's a way to get out there. There's a way to do this without being too pushy.
And it's true. You're not, when you promote yourself, and I'm part of if for the ladies out there and even the gentlemen out there is, there is a what moves her. I don't want to say movement because it's not a movement, but it's initiative for women, women leaders. And, you have to put yourself, whether you're a man or a woman getting into this industry, you've just got to put yourself out there, and you've just got to be transparent. I mean, you truly, truly do. And I could go on about this for hours, but you've got to get out of your own head, because if you're stuck in your own head, you're going to be what holds yourself back.
Yeah. Well, our time is winding down. So one final question for you before we head off into the sunset on this episode. If you had a new agent in front of you, and I'm sure there's plenty of them watching and listening, and you had to give them 3 nuggets. They're brand new. They just got their license. What 3 things would you tell them? It's the most important 3 things that you could know.
Oh my gosh, 3 things. I have to keep.
I
it
know
to
the
3
list.
things.
I know the list is.
The very first thing that I would say, and I say this with wholeheartedness because I had no one to tell me what to do when I first got started. So if I wished I had someone to tell me these 3 things. Interview as many brokerages as you need to. If it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, interview every company out there. You've got to ask the right questions. Make sure that there is a broker or manager in the office that picks up their phone.
And I think it's also important for new agents that there is an office that they can go to and speak with the broker, not a team lead, not someone that sponsored them. I absolutely
agree.
But the broker who is the one that if they get into trouble, they need help, and it's a fresh issue, it's the broker. It's not a team lead. It's not someone who sponsored them into the company. It's the broker. So make sure that it is, you can go in and see the broker.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, because I found this. I'm only saying this because I know it's true for me, is that when you're interviewing, people will tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
And when you leave that office, email the person that you interviewed with. Text the person that you interviewed with. Call the person that you interviewed with.
And see how long it takes to call them.
And see how long it takes for them to respond. Because when you call them with a question on a contract or a buyer, you're going to get that same response. I'm going to tell you, do it, because it will tell you exactly which company and which brokerage you need to go to.
Right. So number 1, interview.
That was number 1. Number 2, probably, there's just so many. I would say if I had to pick one for number 2, it would be training. I'm going to have to say it's training. Ask, you've got to make sure that there's someone in the office or the company has training, because I don't want to use an analogy. It's like riding a bike, but because it's much more complex. But you've got to have a real estate company that will show you exactly what to do in the first 30 days, first 60 days, first 90 days. And I'm going to add this in there. Ask your broker, the one that you're interviewing with, if they will help you create a business plan.
Amen.
And if they don't know how to help you create a business plan, run. But training is
ask them for the template of the business plan.
There you go.
We have them printed.
Yeah,
it's called Journey to Success.
Well, exactly. And the reason I say that is because if you don't have a business plan, you're going to flounder. And you have to have a business plan. Number 3, and this was really important, is not just the broker being available, but the culture in the office. What do I mean by culture? Is it a culture of support? Is it a culture of where you want to be? Is there camaraderie? Or, because that is important, is it a culture of positivity? Is it a culture of production? Because I have been into offices where it was so negative, it will affect your affect your production. So is everyone in there, seriously, is it a positive environment? Is it an environment that makes you want to produce and sell real estate? Those are, I could go on, but those are my top 3.
All right. Well, some good tips.
It's so awesome to be here and getting to see you.
I know. Due to that virus, which we won't mention the name because then we can't, promote our podcast. They don't allow you to mention the name.
Yeah. I don't even know what you're talking about.
But due to that thing that's been going on, it's, definitely the face-to-face has decreased. And, it's great to kind of get back to.
It's so great to be here. Yeah. It truly is.
This is and that's, one of my concerns with some of the other companies that claim that, brick and mortar's out. You don't need brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar is absolutely not out.
It's not. And
if it was, there'd be no grocery stores and you could order everything online.
But even real estate, right? It's, having that, we're a people business. You need to be with people. You need to have that camaraderie. I don't know of any brokerage other than one who's 100% cloud-based, but all the other brokerages I know of, you can do everything in the cloud that you can do in the office. There is literally no reason that you need to come into our office. You can do everything online. You can come in because you want to. Our training, the same class is offered online as it is in person. You can come in.
But I will tell you this, is over the last year and a half, everybody was like, oh, I'm going to work from home. I'm going to work from home. I don't need brick and mortar. And then guess what happens after about 6, 7, 8 months?
Everybody wants to. We're seeing.
Everybody wants to go back to the office. I couldn't tell you. I was so glad to get back on an airplane and start traveling. Last night when I knew you had invited me to come here today, I couldn't sleep because I was so excited to get to an office.
Yep.
People want that. They crave it.
We have more office participation in person than we even did before the pandemic. So. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Jodi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me.
Of course, anytime. You're welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a great big favor and click on the subscribe button if you have not done so already. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video, and also do us a great big favor and click that bell so every time we post a new video, you will be alerted. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, it would be a great big favor for us if you would do us a favor, click that 5 stars, leave a review. It helps the algorithm know that our content is helpful and puts it out into more people. Our goal with this podcast, no matter where you're at in the world, we have listeners in almost every continent, actually. We're actually in the top 10 in South Africa right now. I know, go figure, who knew? And there's another, I forget the name of the country, we're number 1 in Africa. I forget the name of it now.
Wow.
I just blanked on it, but hey, whatever. Please do us a favor, leave that review. It really does help. We really want to help agents grow their business from wherever they're at now to that 121%.
And you've grown tremendously. Your office has grown.
Our agents are incredible. It's my great honor. I say it all the time. People, I think I'm BSing, but I'm being sincere. The greatest honor of my career is working with these amazing agents that we have.
You're a servant leader.
It's my job. That's what I do, right? Otherwise, I go sell houses. Yeah. Brokers aren't brokers to make a lot more money. It's because you're called brokers because you're typically broker than the agents. So that's why. But true. So. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, go out there every day, defy mediocrity, and whatever you do, make sure you're delivering those extraordinary experiences. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Have a great day.